Not yet. Okay, now.
And we're warming up.
Yeah.
Test mic. Yeah, it's moving.
Is it? Oh.
This
Okay.
is a recorded live stream, so if you're watching in the future, feel free to jump forward a few minutes. We're just waiting for the audience to build up.
Yeah. And then as you tune in, please like, share, and all that fun stuff before we get started. Okay. But the mic is working, right? Okay, it is. We'll super confirm once people are in the stream. Now we just gotta get around to sharing things. Give us a moment.
Okay, I can see the feed. Resharing it to our mailing list.
Yep, we're getting ready to roll. But yeah, if you are in the future where this is no longer a live stream, you can always skip ahead a bit. Otherwise, you can hang out with us as we're getting things ready. Oh, it's hard to type for the box. It like throws off my muscle memory.
Mhm. Alright. Reshare's done. Monitor running okay. I do believe everything is going well. For any viewers who have joined us, we can't actually tell you're there until you send us a comment. So please comment away and know that we shall incorporate it into the show.
Mm-hmm.
That's really odd. I'm really dark right. I wonder why. Let me just adjust it. But no, this is the usual light position and brightness.
That is true. It doesn't quite move if except when you really kick forward
Very odd.
the table. I'm almost done, sorry. Okay. Do.
Oh, I get it now. I think the orange needs to be angled a bit more
To you?
wider. But it's okay. We can leave it as it is now. It's dramatically appropriate.
Is it? Is it though?
Given tonight's topic, I'd say yes.
Bum bum bum. Okay, I finally got my links out.
Officially starting in 2 minutes.
Okay. So board game day.
I'll try resharing it in a working group.
Scary. Yep. Begin very shortly. If you're already watching, we'd appreciate if you like the video, share it with other folks who might be into board games, especially for today, mystery style deductive games. Or you just like houses.
Okay, I think one is enough to reshare it with for now.
Bum, 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 bum.
Alright. Uh, Timer is ready. It is cold.
Oh, do you need me to
No, it's okay.
change the temperature?
I'm just noticing my nose is like seizing up. But yeah, I guess let's get started.
Okay, we're gonna roll credits and be right back.
Oh yeah!
This is Toby.
And this is Rocky.
And if it's your first time here, welcome to Baduy Pride, our little space on the internet where we talk about anything we want.
It is completely unscripted and not entirely accurate, but it's honest. Join us as we talk about everything and anything random live.
And if it's not your first time here, thank you so much for joining us again. It's a Monday, and every Monday we talk about games. Today, we're talking about this escape room experience that
Is it an escape room? It sort of is. It sort of
yeah,
is.
but
Okay.
it definitely tried to do something very different.
Yes, yes, and that is Mystery House. Oh, it looks now so tapping. Mystery House Adventures in a Box, and and we should thumbnail this. All right, so before I forget. Oops. Yep. How do you want to do it? Oh, okay. We're gonna. That's how you make a thumbnail, folks. Okay, so let's talk about Mystery House Adventures in a Box. So it supports 1 to 5 players officially.
Mhm.
Although I always feel like with all these like escape room deduction games, do player counts really matter?
Well, it
Apart
depends.
from watering down the voting process.
There are some escape rooms that do utilize players in different locations.
That's true.
Escape Tales, for example, sort of tried to have something similar in terms of deciding.
Mm.
But then there was also some of the unlocks
Have characters.
or they had players in different areas. So
Oh.
remember you can read this, the other player can't.
Or they were on different parts of an island.
cards are separated.
Okay, I'll concede that point. But so far, this one doesn't necessarily feel like it's one of those games that you super need to worry about players. Hello, Noel and hello, Mitch. Thank you for joining the stream. Okay.
So Mystery House Adventures in a Box is a escape room experience by Antonio Tinto. It's for 1 to 5 players. It's
Published
generally
by Cranio Creations.
and generally you're expected to finish the puzzle within 60 minutes. But it tries to approach things very differently from how most escape rooms do. And I will state this early. Um, it's one time solving, so once you've solved it, in theory, you can't play it again. But if you're like me, you'll forget how you solved it, so you might still be able to play it again. It is app dependent. So for people who are purists who don't like apps in their board games, this might not be for you. At the same time, for people who still don't mind having apps in their games, it does raise the question: if the app is no longer supported by the OS, what happens?
Yeah.
Because if it were like say browser based, then you're kind of safe.
Which is what Escape Tales does. It's a
Mhm.
website that manages things. So then you're just waiting. You're just hoping that the website doesn't die. This one, it's an app.
So what makes this game very different? The answer to that, and well, I guess we'll preview first with this image.
Yeah, I guess.
Is
Graveyard. No, it's the box itself, the board, quote unquote, is it creates a physical space for your game.
so it's
So
the
it's
first
a 3D adventure.
yeah, so it's the first ever 3D experience in a box, as written as their tagline. And we shall open it to show you. We won't show you the actual adventure, but we will start to show you how it all kind of works out.
At least, and then some parts of the setup.
Okay, hold up. I'll get the
Yeah. So actually, this whole thing is just a sleeve for the actual box. So the box that you get, it looks like just a grid. There are windows all around. Um, so if you get this base game, you have a very flimsy manual because there's not much. You have a divider which does nothing, and then you get two initial adventures to start with, which is Lord of the Labyrinth and Family Portrait.
The box itself then becomes the rest of that was my mouse. The rest of the puzzle.
So if
as
you
you can
like
see.
get closer, so it's a bunch of grooves for stuff, so that when you put when you put the top down, okay, so then you can put now a variety of things to set things up. All across are letters, and then on top are numbers 1 to 6. Now be careful that the numbers for perfect symmetry purposes,
Mm.
go in a certain direction. For example, and you can't quite see, but I'll just point along. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. But then there's also the other side, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And depending on what side you're on, you have to follow the number that you're placing.
Now you might be wondering, how is this the escape room? Well, it's not the escape room yet. This is just the main board. For that, that's where a box comes in.
Yeah, so inside each box, you get a deck of cards and a little of all these cardboard standing things. Okay,
There.
and just for demo purposes. So they warn you. I remember there will be a blue side and a red side, and
Mhm.
they will warn you to like I guess to minimize spoilers, you set it up with the blue side facing you. So
So
for
this one is safe enough because it's just a wall, but you can see it's a G6.
yeah, so like I have a C6, so this goes here.
Where's the G's? I think the G's are in that side.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
Oh, let's turn it. Let's like slip stuff in just to get some of a feel. So this is G.
that's 6.
I also have a K. No K, and this is K. Oh, there's a hole we didn't pop out. K3.
No, I think we put it back.
Okay. Uh,
That's L, so this is over there.
A6.
F6.
Oops. So assembling it is kind of tricky at times, only because it's like
because
it's
we're
very
doing it in the
vision
dark.
vision dependent. And then yeah, then you're always like making sure where the number orientation has moved.
Mhm.
So H5. I should like look for all sixes or something. Just like we get
Yeah, I'm
an
thinking
outside
all
wall.
these 6s.
H
The others, which are
six.
there, there.
Um,
I5, B6, so that's the side, but
this is A1.
we just need the
Yeah, I just need all the outer. So get look for ones and sixes.
or O or P's.
H.
Okay, these. Oops, sorry.
That's K. J6.
P4. Oops,
F1.
we just need one more. The Q. Q6. Do you have it? I don't have
No.
it.
I'm building all the other walls that have come up my way.
No other
L1, D1.
no other cards for you. Q6.
No.
Okay, but I guess that's enough because that's at least one wall.
Yeah.
So as you can see there, a wall forms, and yes, it's a 3D experience. And part of the fun to understand the puzzle requires you to have a flashlight because then you could try to look inside and
Toby takes
see
any excuse
what
to
you
pull out
can
a flashlight.
see.
So, and this is like incomplete, so we haven't put all the pieces in yet. But then you'll be able to like really create this literal labyrinth of stuff. Okay. Oops. Oh yeah, there's more pieces in the box. Okay, just keep going. What else? How else we want to highlight?
Okay, so the board is basically something like that. We are not completely putting all the cards in, but it gives you an idea how, with each card present, it then blocks what you can see in a window. And as we, let's say, we zoom in, as you can see each window, there are different details that you can try to figure out. And yes, we're not allowing you to see it that clearly, but as you progress in the game, there will be times where you'll be told to remove certain ones, and that, for example, this one, ta-da, then reveals a new one that's there. All these additional pieces that get unveiled and removed as time passes becomes part of this unfolding story of secrets that is just so exciting and so enticing.
Mm-hmm.
Had it been bigger, because admittedly, as you can see already in the sample, it
So
can be painful to try to see through these windows. And when you're an older player like me, that's terrible. Even worse, the finish they chose for the thing,
Is reflective. It's
sadly,
highly reflective.
yeah. So it causes all these hot spots to happen when you shine the light on it. If it were a matte surface, that would have, blocked out and then shown the detail more. But sadly, that's not what happens.
So like this is all the exterior walls at least for this. So like oh there's interesting stuff and then you can try to figure out. So it's like visually impressive when you set it out. I do understand the wish for it to be even bigger, although it would I think something's gonna suffer along the way because then this is still like as efficient as they could get for production costs to get the walls out quickly.
Mick shares that the game would have worked better with the Lazy Susan. Yes, assuming you can have the Lazy Susan a few feet above the table.
Yeah.
At this height, this seems all right, but within
Yeah.
your first 10 minutes, you're going to
You're
hate
gonna be like this.
bending down
Oh, that-
every time you're trying to look.
We've been playing it on a stack just to like actually so if it's eye level we tend to play with it this high on the
Yes.
table and then we're like
And then
moving
even
around.
with that, you do have the problems of while you're trying to look at something, someone else might want to turn it slightly because the game is wicked that way. You don't just look at the thing. Sometimes you try to look past it. Sometimes you can see beside it and there's an opening,
Yeah.
and it's part of what you can find out.
So there are two scenarios in the base box. The first when we played the first scenario we were thinking that we can only look orthogonally, so straight, just perfectly straight ahead. So like if I get to take a piece out, then I think I can only see that. But technically speaking, if you peer around the corners and you see things of interest,
That's
it's
legal.
valid. It's valid.
And you will be told by the app if it is something beyond your reach.
Okay, so let's talk about actual gameplay and what the app does. So whoa. So once you've had your maze set up, you decide where to start. Then you can look at all the different pieces, and let's say, hey, this animal thing here looks interesting on E1. So when you load the app, you will uh, choose the letter of the panel that you want to interact with. Let's say E1, and then it gives you this list of like 20 different objects that may be in on that thing. Okay, you're gonna.
So, for example,
Let's try.
this is a
Sorry.
tutorial. This is a tutorial.
Okay.
So it's spoiler free. So as you can see, there's a bunch of letters, and there's the design. So if you wanted to look at E1, you press E, and that's not right. Not selectable in the tutorial. Let's say you choose C, and then it shows you there's C2 and C4. So let's say we chose C2 there. It now shows you a list.
So the first part is like, did you see something of interest, and is that something on this list? The next option you have is the hand symbol in the middle. Can you? You're gonna try to press that without looking. Okay. The hand symbol. If you had cards which represent items in your inventory, you could choose to use the card on this space if it is relevant. If not, you get a time penalty. If you click on something that's not in the map, you get a time penalty.
I'm trying to find an item just so they can see what it looks like.
We chose a bad tile. I don't
No,
know.
I chose the tutorial because I didn't want to spoil things, but of course now I can't identify anything because we don't have the
We
actual
don't-
tutorial.
Yeah, okay. Well, we'll talk about that tutorial in a bit.
So this is an it disappeared. Door. So here, example, when I tried door, it gives you information.
Okay, and then here are objects. You could use them there, and then the last one is a code lock. So every single tile space, they will assume that there is an option to put a code, whether or not there is a code, and then you can try to enter a code, and every time you get it wrong, you get a penalty. So that's what the app gates the whole experience, um, and that's how you're gonna solve things. So we've seen this similar play with things like in terms of like unlock uses the app for all of its code gate stuff. But it was interesting to have the whole list of objects that may or may not be there because that feels like exit, where while you're solving, there are going to be cards that show different pictures, and you have to figure out which is the right picture based on what you've seen. So it's a good little mechanic that comes into play.
Yes.
You will have challenges with terminology, or sometimes you're squinting and is that a book, a letter,
There,
a newspaper?
the ad unfortunately does suffer from some translation issues.
Mm,
So
mm.
we had, for example, something called armoire, which we weren't sure if they wanted to talk about the thing that holds clothes or the thing you wear to battle.
Yes.
There were others that had
There were some spelling
spelling
weirdness,
issues.
and it's tricky because sometimes this was part of a puzzle.
Mhm.
There are some puzzle where it was deliberately misspelled, and others it was just misspelled.
Overall, both mysteries were challenging, but sometimes the challenge felt like it might have been because things weren't as clear as they could be. So, whether this is good for beginners or not, I would answer that with depends on the patience level.
Mm.
If you're someone who um, gets frustrated or flustered very quickly, then maybe this isn't for you. The game, however, through the app does offer two hint approaches. One is the more specific hints, which is specific to the room you've chosen, and the other one is the more general hints, which sort of just reminds you, have you tried looking at this or have you tried looking at that?
Yeah.
The
So
app
the
the app also goes is accompanied with its own music, but unlike unlock and exit, in the instances wherein there was something additional added, here it was just one looping track that you really felt was looping and you got tired very quickly.
well, in most unlocked games, it's also just a loop.
No, but there are changes sometimes as time
Sometimes,
passes.
sometimes. That was only in more recent stuff. Exit only recently added a companion app, which really just acts as a timer. So, the two scenarios that come with the base game come with a rating system for difficulty on the back, and the Lord of the Labyrinth is 3 out of 5, and then the what's this family portrait is 4 out of 5. So they do not give you a super easy option.
Yeah.
The app makes reference to a tutorial stage which was only made available
During the convention.
during conventions when they were demoing the product. So which is a shame because this game does need the tutorial,
Yeah.
I think.
When we played it the first time, we were very worried we were doing it wrong. And so that did remove some of the fun out of it. Our second play, we were getting into it. We were really enjoying that. Oh, we can do this. Oh, do you see that and this and that? But it reached a point that we weren't sure if we were doing things right as well, because there were some riddles that weren't as clear. And that would be the biggest challenge with this one. Whereas unlock and exit tend to have much more writing involved, and thus you can kind of, you get their hinting on certain things based on the writing sometimes. Here, there's very little clues in the way of writing.
There's very little narrative, I guess you could say.
It's a lot you'll have to determine on what you see, and hopefully you can see it well enough. I mean, I remember there was one point we were like, okay, I see something. I don't know if it's a block of wax. Is it soap? Is it gelatin?
Yeah. So we
And
have
then-
moments like that where like, show me the list of objects, and then like, okay, I think it's that. Let's try that. You know.
Yeah.
And then so there's a lot of like using multiple choice principles to narrow down your options.
The app also tries to break out of the alpha player syndrome in the sense that um, every now and then the app will suddenly make a sound and tell you, I think just give me that or
Or
something.
let me see,
Yeah.
which is basically a cue to pass the device to another player so that they become the quote unquote leader. And your main role as leader is just to break ties,
Yeah.
or to facilitate
It
discussion.
doesn't really have a major purpose in the game.
Yeah. It's quaint. It's like, okay, but then like it was just me and Toby playing with the iPad between us. And so
Yeah.
to have the app prompting us every now and then, hey, pass, it's like, just getting in the way.
Although the bigger system needed perhaps was to be who can touch the puzzle. Because again, there's that you're looking at it and someone rotates it back, and that can be a challenge sometimes. I could imagine for us it wasn't much because there were just two of us. But imagine if there were four players. Ooh,
Ooh.
that's gonna be tough.
Yeah. And then like, and then maybe this is an age thing. I mean, you can tell we both wear glasses. Toby and I have different optical challenges where I am nearsighted and he's farsighted. And so it was a lot of like peering into these holes, and then Toby will be switching glasses to see if he can see better. But then if I move it, and then he's looking at the end of the road, oh no, I can't see it now. So
Mm.
that's a bit of a literal challenge with the game. It's but on the flip side, okay, not to sound like we're super complaining about it, but
Mm.
on the flip side, it's very very novel. I mean, um, the sense of a physical space is great. If you look at this one with the labyrinth, your first challenge is to get in, and then once all the walls are in, then it's going to be there. There are those moments of excitement where it's like, ooh, ooh, I see, it looks like some sort of a skull, or I see writing on the wall. I
And
can't read it.
and those moments of trying to combine things
Mm,
feels pretty awesome. Admittedly, I like it here because when you enter objects together, you do choose the object.
yes.
Whereas in other escape room games, it's okay, I'll use the knife with the rope. So that's 12 and 72, which kind of, you
The card
understand you're
base,
identifying
yeah.
the card. But here, at least you're looking at the list. Oh, okay, I'll use the knife. And you see the effect. So that's nice. It's painful though that since it's based on this maze and a list of objects, they don't always use the objects to help keep you updated as to what's happened. So it's possible later you're looking, okay, there's a treasure chest. Okay, enter treasure. Oh, we opened it na pala. It would have been interesting if the app, the moment you press it, it already shows you the last state, like recently opened or now empty or
Mm-mm.
something like that.
And then the game really relies on the physical board to work. So, for example, you see writing on the wall. I could use the app and, like, let's say, look at the graffiti, and then it will just say that there's like green writing on the wall
Mm.
because you need to look at it, look at the game piece, and be able to read it,
Yeah.
which can be a challenge when you're peering through corners and looking through. I mean, like, and trying to figure out where it's just to flash your flashlight.
Yeah.
We had a lot of. I've tried poking it directly into the slats on top to like add some general illumination.
Mm-mm.
Or my typical is like I can be looking here, but I will have the flashlight on the side,
Yeah.
hoping to not catch the glare.
Because having the light in front hits the card directly and has the glare, and then worse, you block yourself because it's still too narrow.
Mm-mm.
Now the game has two expansions. There's the Mystery House Back to Tombstone, which was released 2020.
I don't know why they first went with a cowboy theme.
And then there's the Mystery House The Lost Ship, which is released this year. We do not own both. We're still considering if we will invest on getting them. I wouldn't mind if it were available in the secondary market, but I don't see it happening anytime soon.
Yeah, so and for full disclosure, Toby picked up this game as a secondhand purchase. So someone else played through the adventure before we did. And it's one of those games that's like, oh, then you can share it with friends or re-gift it if needed and still come out with a good experience. It's
Mhm.
just that it is we just recognize that at our age and our visually challenged nature, just our we played the second scenario only last night just to like refresh us for this
Mm.
game, and at the end there was really that okay, I'm tired. I could feel the
The strain.
strain, yeah, from trying to figure it out.
Again, it's not a
It's not a
bad
deal
idea.
breaker, yeah.
For younger audiences, that would have been great. Um, for older ones, your eyesight will affect your experience. But overall, definitely an experience worth going through if you like adventure game experiences. I am actually tempted now that we're done with this to ship this to some friends and try it, play it, and then just send it back to us because we're gonna keep it still. But
Yeah,
um,
yeah, just share the love and get more people to try it
and
out.
if they choose to buy their own, then that's great too. But for us, we definitely enjoyed it. We wouldn't mind trying the others, but it's not one where we will go full.
We're not going to pre-order it.
Yeah.
If that's the question.
At least not until they either tighten the app more or
Improve the writing.
improve the printing.
Maybe also this shiny finish on the cardboard
It's
pieces
painful.
is very painful. And then I gotta warn you though, as much as this is marketed as a family game, like this family portrait scenario, I do not recommend this for kids.
Mhm.
It's a little disturbing.
Yeah,
The implications, and
yeah.
then um, yeah. So it's like, ooh, I don't think this is super kid
It
friendly.
wasn't like 50 clues, which on the on the onset was warning you that this is a dark, disturbing imagery.
For yeah. So that and
So
that's another game we're gonna get around to talking. We just started playing it,
yeah,
but we did the first scenario, and oh my god. Okay, so but super points to the development team for this, for thinking of this mechanic with the labyrinth thing. I mean, um, it's a really really good idea. I feel like over time they will refine how to work this. Maybe more spaces with windows, because
me,
they have some tiles with cutouts.
I feel they should replace the top with a
Mm.
white opaque surface. But then you can shine the light and it
So it's like
illuminates,
translucent
but it
enough.
illuminates everything with a parang
Mm,
fluorescent lighting because you do want people to see.
that's true.
It's not about hiding in the shadows. It's about recognizing what you're
Because
looking at.
there tends to be interesting art on
Yeah.
all of the pieces, and you don't. I know when we first finished this labyrinth, we barely got to see the middle part
Mm.
of
And
the
it's such a
maze.
shame because it's great art. The
Yeah,
art is nicely detailed.
and some of the art requires perspective.
Yeah.
You will be aligning and trying to figure out some of
So
the
I
stuff.
really think if they had the top as an opaque white plastic, then when you shine the light down, it illuminates everything, but only the things you can see because the walls still block your view. So it
Hmm.
still works.
Yeah, it could still work. And yeah, if you do get a chance to play this again, feel free to peer around corners. There are so many secrets on like the quote unquote back sides of tiles that you might be able to view from an
Mm.
adjacent space. At least for seeing it, it's always legal. But in terms of interacting with the space, if you are blocked off or like you haven't
The app will
opened the
tell
right
you.
door, the app will just say it's too far away. You can't use this space. You can't interact. And that's fine. That's fair enough. I mean, like even just last night, oh my gosh, we were super bonkers. And I'm always like, oh, I think I see a blah blah blah, and then
Yeah.
and then here,
And then there were those moments of, I mean, it does give you those moments of,
I got it. Wait, I understand. Yeah, it
um,
gets very thrilling.
but it's, you just have to be patient enough to get there. So that is Mystery House. We are hoping that this review has enlightened you on whether or not you would like a 3D experience.
How would you compare this to the other deduction games or escape room games we've played?
I don't. I will not place this higher than Exit and Unlock.
Okay, Exit and Unlock are definitely our favorites.
We still feel so much love for Exit, and yes, we love destroying the components. It's part of the fun.
Mhm.
Um, we also love how Unlock has really gotten so much better compared to the
Yes,
early years.
the first set of Unlock games we played, we were like, well, it's good we got this on sale.
Yeah. I think the general rule for Unlock is if it features the mouse, it's probably not as good. But then,
The
and that was their
squeaky.
main mascot,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah.
But then, as you see all their other adventures, and boy, those 3-in-1 box sets, those get really good.
Mm.
This one is, I think, in the same spot as Unlock was in its first year.
Okay.
And
Okay.
I feel this is a lot of development to get to. You need a better app, guys. In fact, I'd even say go browser based. Don't stick to an app. That way, you're more sure that it'll last forever. It
Ooh.
also allows you to have more sounds. It also allows you to have more interesting stuff. And then when people input cards and you're just going to, let's say, I say paint, and then the cap will say there is paint. Please provide a close-up image of that image
Oh, that's one thing
because
though.
you want everyone to have the information. Withholding image is not the game. The game is getting people to interpret what they're seeing.
How would you compare it to Escape Tales? And we've only played the one Escape Tales, which was the disturbing hospital one.
I like escape tales in the sense that you feel there's freedom to try looking around and exploring.
Mm.
That's what I feel this one has, but you're fighting with your co-players when you do it.
Yeah, because
Because even if, let's say, we both choose to look at one side, it's still too narrow for us to look at the
yeah,
same
so
thing.
like if the two of us are like, then put your head here, put your head
Yeah.
here, and then like, that's what happened to us.
And then at the same time, we're looking at a card this small. So can you imagine how much information you both can look at when you're trying to stare at it together? It just, I think this works best as a solo experience, or if you're working with teams, as something which the others could have had a hand in helping out.
Mm.
This almost makes me think more like Crystal Maze. Like maybe one person holds this and rotates it, everyone else
What do you see? What
has
do you
a
see?
no. I was thinking maybe they have a line of sight camera so they can see what the guy's looking at, and then they can offer it tips because the physicality becomes its greatest weakness.
Yeah, it's the strength and the weakness.
Mhm.
Because I mean, if you look at how deep it is, and then if you're peering through the little things, and then there are little barriers in your way,
Yeah.
seeing anything in the middle, oh my God, it is a challenge. Although it makes for great perspective shots. Like I should like stick a camera into this and
Mhm.
just like take a picture of the labyrinth.
It's greatly dramatic,
It's a
but
conversation
it's
piece.
happening at the cost of the player enjoying fun.
Mm.
So yeah,
That's Mystery House. So yeah, but yeah, we could be wrong. So we're only reviewing it based on the base game. It may get better because again, we were people who didn't think Unlock was that great
mhm.
until later on. Then it's like, oh my god.
But if there's anything they should do now,
Oh, he's gonna talk about that again.
it's that tutorial.
Oh, the
You need
tutorial.
to make
Yeah.
that tutorial available somehow, even if it's just a digital version of this board in the app,
Mm.
so you could see, this is what it looks like. Now let's try looking at cards B2, and then you press B2 and it zooms in, and then the app tells you you can try to look in the sides.
Yeah.
I mean, something like that, because it's such a sad thing if your first experience is already with one of the two adventures, and that's your learning experience. But at the same time, some can say that was the flaw of Exit, that there was that chance of having to tear stuff up, and you still didn't know if you were doing it right.
That's true.
Exit, however, had a very concise manner.
And yeah, and it is awesome.
So that's all the time we have for this review. We hope you enjoyed hearing about the Mystery House. Well, no, there's no the Mystery House Adventures in a Box.
That's the full name. If you go to Board Game Geek,
Yeah, I
it's
know.
Mystery House: Adventures in a Box. Ah.
And we hope you'll join us again next time.
Okay, so for questions or suggestions for future episodes, you can fill out the Google form at bit.ly Baduy Pride Ideas. We chose this one today because Toby decided, why not? Let's make it M week since last week was N week. So all of our topics today, this week, start with the letter M.
And we're moving backwards. Well, we'll try.
No, we're not going to go through the alphabet this way. Okay. But if you have suggestions for other letters or other themes for the week, you can also submit that with our question form. You can follow us on Twitter, Altobi No Shade, RG Sunico.
You can also check out our blog, badaypride.com, for all the previous episodes and stuff about us, such as how much we love Portal Games and the people behind Portal Games. This
Okay.
isn't Portal Games, but it's by someone.
It's Ignazi. All right. Then be sure to feel free to continue the conversation in the comments below. Let us know what you think about the game. I'm curious if who else has gotten to play it, and did you have a better chance dealing with the eyesight problem we did? I'd love to hear your stories, and be sure to subscribe for notifications, whether on Facebook or YouTube, so you don't miss our next live stream. Once again, I'm Rocky.
And I'm Toby.
And this is Baduy Pride. Good night, everyone. Welcome to M Week. M